online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads from over 200 countries and your number one source in after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hey everybody, welcome back for the League Season 6, Episode 1, Sitting Shiva. I'm your host, Jenifer Golden, and with me is my lovely co-host.
My name is George Hermoza.
And we're also missing our other lovely co-host, Lauren Leonelli, but she'll be back next week.
Yeah.
She would have actually really liked this episode, mostly because of the tone in which it was Jewish. And if you know me, my name is Jen the Jew on Twitter and Instagram, so it's just kind of funny that it all worked out this way.
Hold on. Jen the Jew. Let me write that down. Jen the Jew.
It's real. It's real. So this episode had a lot going on, George. A lot. And like we discussed, one of the things we were excited to see what would transpire in Season 6 is how the Sacco and the Shiva would do living in the same house.
I mean, if you notice on the mantle, they were right next to each other, so it's kind of like a big contrast. You got the first place and then the last place. Yeah, that Ruxin trophy is not pretty.
No, it's not. It's quite ugly. And, you know, I think that having the Sacco is giving Kevin like a really hard time because we see, you know, in the intro of the show, Kevin is actually at the combine and he's like doing the
combine, just the
right.
Combine, yeah.
It's
the
a
combine
camp,
training, yeah.
right?
Kind of like for the rookies. You had a couple rookie cameos too, Carlos Hyde, Mike Evans.
This show always has some great people on
I
it.
love that. I love when they have the whole cameos, the NFL cameo. We've seen it in the past with Matt Forte, initially with Maurice Jones-Drew. So many guys. You had, we'll go on later, but J.J. Watt back on the episode.
Right. And, I mean, they really integrate players with the cast so well and each storyline. And I love how the players always make fun of the cast. And it is like the straight man because they really are making fun of, like, how ridiculous these people are. So anyway, we see Kevin at the combine. He's terrible. He's getting thrown around. They're making fun of him. The announcers are like, is he peeing? What's going on?
There was one line that he said that kind of had me rolling.
What?
Just when he got hit in the taint. I just thought that line was funny.
Yes, I did as well. It's so crazy also when you watch the show, you're like, they can say that stuff on TV. It still kind of like hits
cable.
You. Right.
It's cable.
And it's FXX.
Oh, yeah. Just watched
So.
The Simpsons all week, but now Simpsons is off. Now the league is on.
Mm-hmm. Thank God it's back. I actually realized it was coming back when people were telling me they were at their fantasy drafts. I was like, "Oh my God, football season is around the corner."
I know it's the time for the league. When I had a couple drafts this past weekend. I got
a couple drafts. How many leagues are you in?
I'm in 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Unlike Ruxin, who we find out later on is in like 12. So going back to the story, you know, Kevin wakes up. And we realized that he was in a dream, which we knew. We basically knew that he wasn't really at the combine.
I mean, what I thought was funny, too, how everything you thought was a dream, it's one of those things where there was one part of the dream where kind of blended over to reality when he kind of wet the bed just a little bit.
Yep. And he wakes up. He's, like, mortified. In his dream, they're calling him the Sacco, and it's like he can't shake it. So he wakes up. Jenny is next to him sleeping, and she calls him Sacco too. And she's like, wait, is the bed wet? So it turned out he actually wet the bed.
Poor guy. I kind of almost felt a little bit bad for Kevin.
Did you?
Him. Yeah.
I mean, how can you? It's like we feel bad for these guys, but they're also so ridiculous. They kind of bring it on to themselves. But clearly he's really affected by this whole Sacco thing.
I mean... He's that one guy, because I was watching back some of the previous seasons. He was that one guy in the first couple of seasons who never was able to get to the Shiva Bowl. He won, I think, like a year or two ago. Mm-hmm. Now it's his turn for the Sacco.
He was the commissioner for a while, too.
Oh, yeah, he was.
So he's been in some pretty high places, but now he's like at the lowest.
But just to think about it, I mean, I think Jenny kind of came into the league kind of a year afterwards. So seeing her win might have done something. I mean, nothing against women. I'm sure women and fantasy football go really well together. Like, peanut butter and jelly, I'm sure. Maybe
I don't
not.
know.
Maybe. We'll see. I've never had any women in my league. Not that I'm not opposed to it. In fact, I got an open invitation to any woman who wants to be in my league.
Call me.
Oh, wow. I'll tweet you at Jen the Jew.
Yes, there you go. So Jenny, like you said, won the Shiva, and she is now planning the draft.
Oh, I mean, she is having fun with it too.
By the way, leave it to a woman to like plan an awesome draft. If you guys actually, what the smart thing would be is if you actually invited us to your draft, and we wouldn't necessarily play, but like we'll come hang, we'll like eat the food, plan the event, like drink.
I'm having another draft at my house tomorrow.
There you go.
7 p.m.
Yeah, sounds about right. Awesome. She plans it where they eat a different course for every round. And that's so smart. I mean, she could also do a drinking game with it. Like, it could be a real nice event.
What would you do?
I think I kind of am into what she did. Or maybe I'd make everyone, like, dress up at, like, kind of like how you are. You're in a jersey. And for our listeners, he's in a Patriots jersey.
That's right.
So I take it you're a Patriots fan.
A little bit.
Just a little bit?
Just a little bit.
We're probably going to hear more about this throughout the season, aren't we?
Just a little bit. It depends how if they're losing a lot, you're not going to want to hear anything from me because I'll be very upset. But if they're winning, absolutely.
So you're a big fan.
Yeah.
All right. There are some great lines that come out of this episode. When Jenny is talking about the draft and all of her plans, and she gives calendars with photos of her and the Shiva, and then there are pictures in also of Kevin in the Sacco. The guys say it's sexual harassment.
That's another thing. I think about it, I just giggle because they just every time they reference that, every time they kind of include some of their own league things into their own definitions of vocabulary, I think it's hilarious.
It's just so smart. Like, I feel like, people that love the show. People that don't know about the show are totally missing out. And I feel like this will be one of those ones that people hear about later, go back and watch all the seasons. Kind of like Arrested Development. The people that didn't know about it then binge watched on Netflix.
Let me ask you this. Do you play fantasy football?
No.
But you like football in general?
I like the show and that it's centered around football and competing.
So my point is, even if you're not a big fan of fantasy football person, even if you're not a big sports fan, it's still a good show to watch.
If you like comedy, which I personally do, I mean, clearly my Instagram and Twitter are Jen the Jew, it's like couldn't get more ridiculous. But this show is just so smart. But then again,
well written,
like
the timing
people don't
of it.
always, want to necessarily watch shows like this. So or maybe they don't know about it and they think it's only about football. But what it is hysterical.
It's one of those shows where I've never heard anything bad about it. Anybody who watches the show loves the show.
Right.
If they don't love the show, because they've never watched the show.
Right. I will second that. Or maybe they just didn't get it and they watched like one episode or part of an episode and didn't understand the storyline or like all of the jokes.
Yeah.
Like if somebody heard sexual harassment but they didn't know what a sacco was, they wouldn't really get
Or
it.
if somebody says like Shiva Blast, you got to see one of the episodes with Shiva.
Right.
So little things like that. I think you got to know a little bit of everything. Maybe they saw the wrong episode. It'd be fun to watch it from the beginning.
And there were some pretty weird ones, like the ones with what is his name, Dirty Harry?
There was one I was watching the other day from last season. It was just I know Dirty Randy with Seth Rogen, and Rafi. They kind of go to like off to L.A.
Yeah, they steal the car and run away.
That one was a little weird, but that's just one episode.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't really centralize about them. Not a big fan of Rafi the character, but he kind of serves his purpose.
He's so out there. Yeah. I'm not sad we didn't see him in this episode, but I feel like he'll be like, we'll have to go into predictions later. Not jumping ahead yet. So back to this whole talk about the draft and everything and planning. We see Andre is actually a little bit different this season so far.
Yeah, I mean, if you've seen the previous seasons, he's usually the brunt of everyone's joke.
He is.
Everybody, he's an easy target to make fun of his fashion, but he's kind of gotten a little funny.
Yeah, I mean he's taking it, which is what they're they're a little bit upset by. The rest of the guys, they call him Teflon Dre because everything's basically like bouncing off of him. He's like tougher than the jokes.
Yeah, it's like they don't even know what to do. And in fact, that they're trying to kind of put him down a size? Like,
Yeah.
they're trying to
bring him back
something?
down to like where he usually is, because they don't like when,
They need somebody to make fun of. But to the point where now Kevin was kind of becoming the new Andre.
Yeah.
That nice appearance by Adam Brody. We'll get into that in a second. But yeah, Adam Brody, Ted, right? Ted is name? Yeah, Ted is kind of calling Kevin. He's the new Andre.
Yep.
Of course, Kevin being a little upset about it. He's very sensitive. So
I mean, Kevin can't take a joke anymore. He's got the Sacco. Andre's a little bit tougher right now. Things are changing in the group, guys. Especially, Taco wasn't even at this conversation because he was too busy playing street golf.
I love that visual of just them on the golf cart, just riding downtown.
I love the suspension of disbelief in this show is just so incredible. And like, I buy it. I'm like, you know what? They would go play golf in the middle of the street and like putt into somebody's soup.
I would so do that.
Would you?
I would so. I need to buy a set of golf clubs.
And also a golf cart.
And friends.
You need to buy friends. I think that you could do that on like Craigslist.
No, well, the DVD.
Oh, right.
Yeah. I have a few friends, but
Well,
yeah.
do you have 6 or 5? Because then that would make you 6. Well, now you have me, so there you go.
And I'm going to follow you on. You're going to have one more Twitter follower.
Amazing. I knew I came here tonight for the right reasons.
I heard you do a lot of selfies, though.
You can also follow me on Snapchat.
Oh, hold on. No, I don't want to take my phone out right now, but is it still at Jen the Jew?
No, it's Jenifer Golden. Somebody took that, by the way. That's rude. If you're watching Jen the Jew Stealer, give it back, all right? Anyway, so we see the guys, golfing in the street, doing their thing. It's Ruxin, Taco, and Pete. They're kind of my favorites.
I love Ruxin. Ruxin has been my favorite since episode 1.
Love. And he actually, has a lot going on this episode. So he's doing this mock draft to try and like prepare for the real one and like get ready. And it turns out he ends up joining accidentally 12 leagues.
He joined my league. Yeah, I've been calling him.
You'd be so lucky.
I swear to God, one of those phone calls he got on the show.
Yeah.
That was me.
I like it.
He was the one that I hung up on. So I'm just trying to get him back in the game. I mean, now we're down 1. I mean, come on, Ruxin.
Well, you know what?
Call me
Your
back.
league's down 1, and so is our league because of the whole Ted shenanigans.
Ooh. Kind of a downer.
Let's talk about it.
I think that was the first official
Death? I can't remember. There's been so many things
It was just kind of unexpected. I mean, looking back now, it's like at some point I knew they had to kill him off because he had AIDS.
Right. Well, and we thought he would die from AIDS. And also the episode's called Sitting Shiva, which is a Jewish term.
See, I didn't know that. I learned something new today.
Yes. And right before the episode started, I was like, guys, don't you get it? Sitting Shiva. It's not Shiva, it's Shiva, because that's what you do when somebody dies in the Jewish religion, Jewish faith. You go to their house or someone's house after, and you eat with the family, and you all like mourn together. But it's almost like not a celebration of life, but it's just something you do so that the family's not alone, mourning alone. It's kind of like a way to distract and be there for them and to eat a lot. And like people bring platters of food and flowers and the whole thing. So anyway, what happens actually before Ted dies abruptly is Pete calls a meeting, and they Skype in or whatever they do.
Yeah, he's like video chatting.
Video chatting. I like their technology. Ted's video chatting. He's on the way to an AIDS benefit, and he's wearing, a tuxedo or whatever looked like that. And they're talking about how they might become a 10-team league. And that's what Pete's suggesting. And everybody's like, well, I know. We're an 8-team league. We're an 8-team league. And then Ted is like crossing the street while looking at his phone and then gets hit by a car and dies.
Kind of a bummer.
But it had to happen because then what else would they be sitting Shiva for?
Exactly.
Get it?
See, that's the thing. I didn't know that. And it wasn't until that part of the episode we were watching, you're like, oh, so that's why it's called that. And I mean, again, I would have never known. I just thought it was like,
Right.
Somewhere Shiva sitting somewhere. I thought she was going to be in the episode, if anything.
Yeah, like maybe she would have died or something, and that would have just been weird because then they had a trophy named after her. Yeah. But no, they kill off Ted, which is so odd still because he had AIDS and he could have died that way. But I think that would have been too serious, whereas his like Skype and walk and getting hit by a car was more comedic and like less real.
Because I wasn't
so
expecting
ridiculous.
it. Wasn't. It literally came out of nowhere, and that's something that is good about TV shows, where you kind of don't really expect certain things.
That would have been too heavy if he died from AIDS.
Yeah.
The fact that he even has AIDS, that was pretty heavy for the show. But then like they make fun of it, and he's got these like super drugs and the whole thing. So he dies, and then we see them all go to his funeral, and they meet the parents, and the parents ask them if they don't mind staying with the body overnight, because that's something that, like, we do. And they turn it into the draft. Of course they do.
It's the way that Ted would want it.
It's the way that Ted would want it. And they are just, so sensitive. I mean,
Ted was in the draft. They drafted for Ted.
Yeah. Not so sure his picks were so good. But
his picks was pretty good. I was looking at, because that's what I do every single year on that draft episode. I look. I'm like, does that make sense? Okay. Really? You pick him before him? I'm kind of upset that Peyton Manning went like 11th. But again, whatever.
But one of the funny things that happens during the draft is Ruxin's dealing with all of his other drafts at the same time, and they're on the phone with him asking him, who he's picking for their drafts, and he's yelling out Cameron Jordan. So then Pete and Kevin are like, "Oh, Cameron Jordan.
We'll give you Cameron Jordan, sure."
But they're like, "Wait, Cameron Jordan or Jordan Cameron?" Which obviously they had to call out the fact that they're two guys basically with the same name. Mm-hmm. One is white, one is black, by the way. I'm sorry, I had to say it. I'm obsessed with Jordan Cameron. I didn't know who he was until just now.
Here's a small little...
I'm in love.
Jordan Cameron has a sister who's not only I think Matt Leinert's baby mama, but Blake Griffin's baby mama.
Whoa.
So that's a nice little family that they got there.
That's a lot of, football spawn. But also, hello, does she know that, like, you've got one reputation, lady. You just killed it. But anywho, he's hot. I love him. Does he have a baby mama?
Probably not.
I need to know this.
He just came out of college, I think, like a year ago. So he's pretty young. He's probably like 22, 23.
Still time to corrupt him.
Had a great year last year. I'm trying to pick him up for my fantasy league this year.
Really?
So we'll see. Hopefully I don't get him confused the way Ruxin did.
I love that. I love that outside of the funeral home are, of course, Jordan Cameron and Cameron Jordan, because everybody is in the episode tonight, including JJ Watt. He's at the funeral of, like, Ted's funeral. And, the guys ask them basically to, like, mess with Ruxin, and they quiz Ruxin on which Jordan Cameron Jordan is whom, and Ruxin, of course, has no idea.
Yeah, he's like, hey, yeah, I got Jordan Cameron. Yeah, Jordan. Trying to point to the middle of them to make sure he's all...
like a Pro Bowl player. They're both Pro Bowl players.
Yeah, Pro Bowl player.
All right, Ruxin. Well, so he ends up with Cameron Jordan, who actually is what's an IDP? I learned that tonight. Independent.
Wow, and something defensive player.
Right, which they don't actually include in their league.
Yeah. So
you can't even draft him. So really, it had to have been Jordan Cameron, or he just has, like, one less player.
Pretty much, yeah.
Pretty much. They're also, these same guys are trying to mess with Andre still and take him down a notch off his high horse. And they tell him there's a flash mob. Ay, Andre.
Oh, Andre.
Typical
Andre.
So, they give him, like, a little, like, music thing, a CD player. And I like they didn't give him, like, a jam box or, like, something, like, current. They give him, like, a big, bulky CD player.
I love the whole visual of him just tearing off his clothes. He's got the whole white, whatever he had on.
And a weird shorts. Dance he was doing. I'm not sure what flash mob that was supposed to be. But, he does it. He goes through with it. And I was hoping he was going to actually outsmart them, but I like the twist. So he does the flash mob right when the mourner's Kaddish starts, which is, like, the saddest part of any Jewish service, is the one talking about the people that have died. So... of course, at the funeral, the most important thing that's happening, he's interrupting with his nonsensical flash mob of one. And then
Taco was playing his random street golf.
Right. Wasn't even in the service.
Wasn't even inside. He was outside playing by the cemetery. The cemetery.
Yeah.
Hits a ball, breaks the window, hits the... I don't know, what's his official name?
The rabbi.
The rabbi. Hits the rabbi in the head.
Yep.
Knocks him out. Mm-hmm. They call for a doctor. Mm-hmm. There's Andre.
Andre saves the day. So he's actually cool now and not a complete embarrassment because he's done something awesome.
I mean, what was I going to say? I like, too, that now that Ted, remember, he got his will.
Yeah.
Which is funny because...
good point. I forgot about that.
Now they all have something to play for. Ted, he's got a lot of friends in the OC. I mean...
I personally love jokes about people, like real jokes. So, like, they're making fun of Ted because
Adam Brody.
Right. I was going to say Seth Cohen on the OC lived in Laguna. So Ted had a house, of course, in Laguna.
See, I didn't know that. Again, wasn't a big fan of the OC.
How dare you?
Not a big fan. Just never watched it.
We can't talk after tonight.
All right, fine. So I guess this will be my last show.
Bye. It's been real.
Does that mean you're not joining my fantasy league?
Ooh, tough call after this. But yeah, so basically that upped the stakes. Whoever wins this year's
gets his Laguna Beach house.
So I mean, I don't know. I would really try and win if I were getting a house for free in Laguna. Anyway.
So during the service, you had Kevin with Jenny.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And
again, I forgot about that.
Jenny was kind of sweet talking Kevin, and I guess they had some issues downtown.
Mm-hmm.
Of course,
Sorry,
Kevin.
I have stuff in my contact lens, guys. I'm not crying over the league right now.
I was crying earlier. I just was not expecting Ted to die, but Kevin, he was kind of having a little trouble perform. I mean, you had Jenny.
She was taunting him, let's be honest.
Essentially. I mean, initially, Ruxin's team name was always Peak Top Kevin Bottom.
Yes.
And then he said he was going to change his team name to Jenny Top Kevin Bottom, which is not that bad.
No, if you think about
If you really think not that
positions.
bad. But of course, you have sensitive Kevin. Jenny always mentioning, the word sacco. You don't want to hear the word sacco in the sack, essentially.
Right. She was like, do you want me to tickle your sack?
It was essentially, Kevin didn't like that. He got a little turned off. He's
a pretty emotional guy,
yeah.
I would say.
I agree. So during the service, he kind of got a little, I guess, to quote the show, got a little rosterwood.
I love their lines. They have the best names for things. And they always make so much sense. So, yeah, she was sweet talking him and basically was like, I loved your lineup. That choice was so good. I have no idea what she said, but
essentially that's what she said.
Right.
That's
and
exactly
named some people whom I can't. Drew Brees was one of them. That's all I knew.
Drew Brees. I forgot the other ones.
Yeah, see, so
I didn't remember Drew Brees.
It was more important that Kevin had rosterwood than who he had on his roster
so
at the time.
Of course, I'm sure I'm not at that age, but maybe at that age you got to just kind of take what you can get.
Right.
Essentially, that's what he said on the show. It's like, I don't know when it's going to come back. So essentially, they kind of stepped away to kind of do little
mourning of their own.
Yeah, pretty much. And they got caught.
Yes, they did. Of course, when the guys.
Oh wait, I forgot to say.
What?
The little draft board, they forgot it inside the coffin.
So much happened this episode.
So many notes.
So many things. I can't even keep track.
So that's what it kind of was revolving around.
Right.
They forgot the roster in the board inside the coffin.
Because Taco hid the draft roster board thing from the parents that were trying to get back into the temple where Ted was being kept. And Taco hid it under Ted, and then they closed the coffin, and the guys were fighting over being pallbearers because it was all the football dudes and then all those silly little men, and they tried to trick the guys and stole the coffin, and they ran into where Kevin and Jenny were actually doing it.
I kind of wanted to see Kevin's vinegar strokes, to be honest with you.
Oh, no, I don't want to see that ever. For those who don't know what that is, that's his
Go on Urban Dictionary and put in vinegar strokes.
All right. Well, you guys are obviously super fans like us, and you watch the show and know what vinegar strokes are. And you know what else? We love it when you rate and comment and give us feedback and text and tweet and the whole thing. We like to hear what you have to say about the show. In fact,
Podcast One.
You can do a survey.
Podcast One. Go to www.podcastrun. Again, like she said, we love to hear from you. We will read every single tweet, comment, message, question that you guys send in. Just fill out a little survey, too.
3 minutes.
3 minutes. That's 180 seconds. Fill it out. Let us know what you think. We love to hear from you guys. Podcast1.com.
Yep.
I'm going to do it when I get home.
I'm going to, obviously rate us really
keep those
highly.
Keep those tweets, keep those comments coming.
And there's instant gratification because let's say you think that we need to talk more about vinegar strokes. We'll do it. We will listen to you.
I mean, I can just explain it right now.
You don't have to. You don't have to. Because there's so many other things we still have to talk about. The fact that, they run in, they see Kevin and Jenny, they drop the casket or the coffin, I forget what we call it in the Jewish religion, but they drop that thing. They are just astounded by the middle-aged sex that's happening in front of their eyes. And JJ Watt comes in, picks up the coffin
With
on
one
his
hand.
own, doesn't even need the other pallbearers, and takes off. Then they're like, wait. They see Ted is on the ground. If Ted's not in the coffin, who is?
Dun, dun, dun.
Taco.
And he had the draft board.
He did, and that was a big success of the episode. He got it back. And, they might have had to redraft. No one could remember what they did. And Ruxin was just trying to steal other people's choices.
I mean, he definitely did not want to have Cameron Jordan. I almost got it messed up. So God bless you, Ruxin. I almost got it messed up too. He definitely didn't want Cameron Jordan. Jordan Cameron, he wanted to draft.
So do I.
Jordan.
So do I. Jordan Cameron.
He's like young. He's like 22, 23.
You know what? You either got to get them when they're young or when they're really old. Like, young, you can mold. Older, they've just given up,
Hold on.
Take notes.
Young, mold.
Old. Tired.
All right. At gen2ju.com.
Yeah.
Anyways, so at the end, he's got the board. And yeah, the whole episode, though, Ruxin was like, come on, let's redraft. Let's redraft. And of course, everybody's like, no. We're trying to remember our picks. Maybe Kevin wrote it down. Maybe he didn't. But yeah.
He didn't. So that was really
Definitely
great.
a shock.
Taco.
Definitely a shock to the family, though, that Taco just kind of came out of that coffin. I definitely, if I was one of those family members, I would have been like, wow.
So great.
That's not Ted.
It's so great that in this show, no one actually reacts the way they should. And they forgive a lot of things that happen. And I love them for it.
I just love the fact that everything's so nonchalant to them. Like I said, Ted died. They're just kind of like, cool, well, doesn't mean we can't draft.
No, I love them for that. This show is just so good. I think, we should maybe get into some predictions. What do you think?
Who do you think's going to win the Shiva?
It's just that time for predictions.
I mean, everybody's...
And now, you're AFTERBUZZ TV.
You're really excited.
I think...
Do tell.
I think it's Pete's time again.
Do you?
I think he's going to 4-Pete.
4-Pete. Ooh, because that would just be like a good line. And then... I almost think Andre's going to take it, and I think they're setting him up for that.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Because they're giving him confidence. He's
That's
got
a
a
good
little
one.
swagger. Maybe he'll even get a girlfriend again this season.
But who's going to replace Ted?
Ooh,
I know what you're thinking, and I'm thinking the same thing.
That I could look up casting. I don't know.
Oh no! I thought you thought that they're going to bring in Rafi to the league. That's what I was thinking.
I don't think they would do that to
Well, I mean,
themselves.
they don't have a choice.
They
who
probably
else,
don't have a choice. You're right.
Who else are going to get? They can get Dirty Randy.
I don't think they'll go that far. I don't think they're that desperate, let's be honest. I think Rafi's a good call. Also, we could look up casting and see who they're going to bring in. News and gossip. You guys, again, tweet us. Let us know who you think it's going to be that's going to take Ted's place. And also, if you just know in general, that's cool too.
I was thinking while I was watching the show that they always get all these NFL cameos. When are we going to get an NFL cameo?
Like in studio?
Yeah.
You know what? I think I might leave that to you to communicate with those peeps, because I feel like I would just say something just silly and they wouldn't,
I mean,
We are going to, though, have the talent in studio at some point.
Oh.
They are coming. They were going to last season, but we sort of touched base a little late, and they were very interested in coming this season.
You work on the talent. I'll work
Okay.
on the players. Jordan Cameron.
Yes, please.
Maybe Tom Brady.
Okay. If you're taking requests,
Who else do you like?
that's probably it. But that's also because those are the only ones I really know. Let's be honest.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't know Peyton Manning?
I know other things.
Eli Manning?
I mean, I know who they are.
Well, the
but
commercials.
Who doesn't?
They got all the commercials in.
I've seen a Super Bowl or two, or at least the commercials.
Wait, what kind of talent are you thinking of? I know Kevin's. I don't know his real name. I know his real name, but it's
Steven Ranna.
Like his 8 Z's.
Yeah, he's got a lot of letters in that last name.
I went to the Comedy Store for my birthday, and he was.
choice.
I just missed him.
Yeah, well, maybe you'll see him here.
It's funny because you would think that I saw the lineup, and I'm like, oh, cool, maybe him, a couple other people that I recognize would be the main show, but I got there and they were the first ones there, so I was like, oh, I wanted to take my picture with Kevin.
Well, you probably will have that chance. Think it's gonna happen for you.
Interesting.
Yep.
Next week? Maybe not so soon?
I don't know about next week, but keep you posted.
Interesting.
If you're invited back. Just kidding. You'll be invited back.
I made that one comment earlier that you didn't like, so I was like...
I don't even remember what it was, truthfully. It's whoosh.
Really?
Already gone. Came and went.
I think it was something about No, that wasn't Arrested
Don't remind me. It's
Development.
fine. We're on good terms now.
Okay.
Where can our fans, followers, viewers, and everybody find you?
Well, since you asked, I am on Twitter and Instagram at G Hermoza. That's my first George G Hermoza, my last name. I'm also doing the UFC AFTERBUZZ show, so you can find me there too.
That's pretty cool. People,
I'm
check
all
them out.
I'm all about sports. UFC, now the league.
Yeah.
Two things that I love very much, very
Manly.
much, very much. What about you, Jen?
Well, like I said, you guys can find me at Jen the Jew on Twitter and Instagram and Vine. I'm now into Vine,
Really?
guys. Snapchat, Jenifer Golden. Facebook, Jenifer Golden. My site, jenifergolden.com. I mean, just Google me, guys.
Oh,
Pretty much everywhere.
I'm also on MySpace.
No, you're not.
I mean, I'm on it. I just haven't used it in like 10 years.
I was
but-
going to say, unless you make music, are people really on MySpace? I
mean-
know it's coming back.
It really?
Yeah. No, it's coming back, or like stocks are going up or something.
Really?
Like that. Something, it's legitimate again.
Interesting.
It's not just for weirdos, guys.
Where's Facebook going?
It's just here. It's here to stay forever, guys.
Cool.
Yep. Well, that is our show. Thank you for joining us. It has been real. And we will see you next week for episode 2.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.